Good afternoon, everyone, and I'm glad to welcome you all on behalf of Thumbay University Hospital and Thumbay Healthcare Division. We are back with a series of webinars online, which is, I'm sure, going to help all of you who are going to attend this webinar. We had earlier done this during our summer festival, and we continue to do this to help our communities. So first of all, I would like to say Ramadan Mubarak and also Eid Mubarak in advance. Very soon we are going to have a long holiday. Before we start, it's my duty to introduce our specialist today. We have Dr. Rimzim Gupta, who is a specialist pediatrician, Center of Pediatrics and Neonatology. She has got a vast experience in general disease of children and newborn babies, adolescent health issues, growth and development disorders, pediatric infectious diseases, pediatric heart, kidney, liver, and brain disorders. So she has prepared a small presentation, and I welcome you, doctor. If you can just on your video and yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
She also speaks languages, English, Hindi, Urdu, and Arabic, and I'm sure she's got a lot of information to share with you, and I hope it's going to be helpful to all the parents who are going to listen today, and you can share it with your friends and family. So, Doctor, I welcome you to begin this webinar.
Thank you so much.
If anybody has any questions, they can please put it on the chat or Q&A section, and we will get it answered at the end of this webinar.
Right. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. I welcome you all for this small session. As a pediatrician, today I'm going to talk about the parents' role in childcare. I think it's better to put up like parents' role in child development. Parenthood is a miraculous gift to any parents. Once a baby is born, the total orientation and their attention, it changes, and the center of their attention is child now. So all their activities and all their motives changes towards the baby only. So as the child goes through various stages, right from infancy to toddlerhood to preschool, school age, then adolescent and adult, the role of a parent keep on changing as the child grows. So if the parent are very well aware of, they can help the child to bring out his best self and reach his maximum potential. If this role is played very well, then the result is very satisfying to the parents, and the product is very productive to the society. Child develops in different domains with the proper awareness and knowledge. The parents can have a holistic approach, and by which the parents provide optimum good care, love, support, guidance, and encouragement, along with the resources in the right amount so that they can achieve their best. The various domains of development for a baby is in the domains of physical growth, the mental, cognitive, or intellectual development, emotional development, social and spiritual development. But with the different stages of life, the importance of each type of care changes according to the age of the child. In the initial years, and especially during early years of life and during adolescent, at the pubertal spurt, the physical growth is very fast. So to take care of optimum nutrition, giving them balanced diet and healthy lifestyle helps to build a very good physique of the child. And with the proper guidance and proper training, and their proper schooling and all that, their mental development helps them to choose and set a proper goal and follow their career. This physical growth and the mental growth helps the person to achieve a sound body and a sound mind. But the other domains, what I'm going to talk about, the emotional and social development, helps to make him a better person with better interaction among the peer groups in the society, and understanding the needs of the society, having good interpersonal relationship. And if they go along well with the society, the outcome is very good for they are very useful to the society. Then last but not the least, I will talk something about the spiritual development. This is a important domain which is coming up very fast. People are trying to understand this. The thing is, if right from the beginning they have some knowledge about their spiritual nature of being, so they can target a better person. The thing is, they can balance between the material gains and the happiness and peace. So maybe they will choose happiness and peace over only material collection. So this also is a very important domain in the development. If proper guidance is given, they can have this instinct also developed in them. So as I told you, as the child grows at different ages, he acquires different stages, and the parents' role keep on updating with each age. Though the previous roles also are there, but they keep on acquiring new roles as the child grows. Because the parenthood is a very responsible and a dynamic job, the updates are needed, and a very committed and commitment and dedication is needed. So before a child's birth, the parents should be mentally prepared to take up this challenge or this role. The mother and father should be sharing the responsibility. It's of course it's a close unit, and it's the responsibility of both to rear a child into a best person possible. So because the parents, the father and the mother have different type of instincts, if they have a good rapport and share the responsibility, the child develops in all the domains very well. So what are the different roles to be taken up by the parents? They are a caregiver, they are the teacher, guide, or advisor to the baby. They have a very important role to play as a role model and be a friend at times. So we will take up each individual these roles one by one. So a caregiver or a care provider, basically a parent would be like caregiver for till the child is well into the adulthood. But the amount of care is much more needed in the early years and early months. A human baby when born is very dependent. He is dependent upon the parents for each and every need of them. They need to be fed properly, they need to be taken care of by cleaning properly, their hygiene, their comfortable environment, a proper emotional support, and those things, if with a proper knowledge, they can be carried out the best. Of course, there are some things which are reserved for females only, like of course the father cannot breastfeed, but father can take part in the care of a small child in many ways. If the mother is feeding the child, of course she would be tired after the delivery, this thing, that thing, then definitely the father can help in putting the baby to bed, or helping him to play with him when he is awake, so that the mother can take rest. So a good rapport between them and good coordination can help to rear the child in best possible way. As the child grows older, still the caregiving part continues, but maybe the participation of a child who is growing also should start. They should partake in their self-care also. They should learn to help as they are growing up. uh, Parents are the first teacher of the child, and probably the best teacher, because they teach in an environment which is very comfortable, loving and caring. So the grasping is much more easy for the child. So especially in the initial years, the preschoolers, the parents have got a lot to teach to the child, and they are always a guide to the child. As the child grows older, goes to the school, comes out with the projects, he may be having some queries. The parents are the mentors, the facilitators who would be solving their queries, would be helping in their projects, will help in taking decisions. And one thing about the advisor, the parents is always the advisor, even if the child has grown into an adult. I being in the middle age, still I would be seeking advice from my parents, and probably you will also be like, even your parents, maybe you are seeking advice from your parents. This is based on their experience, and depending upon their social circumstances, their traditions, and they help a lot in the proper advice, and most of the times it's positive only. Being a role model to the child, it is the most important thing, because if there is a discrepancy in what you do and what you tell, so if there is a discrepancy, the child is going to follow what you do and not what you tell. For example, if you want the child to have a healthy habit and healthy lifestyle, and eat proper food, not to have junk food, less of the screen time, and you are instructing these things constantly to the child, but at the same time you are not following it. Suppose you are coming back from the home, from your professional work, and retiring in the home, sitting on the couch most of the times, or watching the TV on the mobile most of the times. This is what the child is observing. Rather than this, it's better to go out with them, play with them, or if you are doing in your own cohort, in your peer groups, then maybe they will also continue those play and sports in their play groups. But if you are not doing the same thing, they probably will not be that motivated to do it. And when you should have good family time. When you respect the other people, they will learn to respect other people also. Suppose if you are talking bad, or you are yelling, this is what they are learning. So be very careful, because you are the role model. What you do, they will learn that only, because the child always follows the footsteps of the parents. Being a friend to the child is a debatable question, and there had been many debates whether the parent should be a friend or not a friend, because there is a saying that there are so many friends in the world, but God has given only two parents. So the thing is, there is a debate that whether the parent should be a friend to the child or not. But I would say there should be a mix of both. The parents can be a friend and a parent both at the same time. For example, if it is an adolescent child, and you be friendly with the child, and you are very close to the child, he will be able to share his problems and his queries, his problems with you. But if you are very strict as a parent, and you are keeping your distance with him, he will not be able to communicate with you in a proper way. So you have to be a bit more friend in the adolescent, with the adolescent child, and maybe a bit more parent in a child of the school age. So you have to balance these two roles according to the demand. And for a smaller child, at this time, when there was a COVID era, most of the times children being at home, at the home also there are not many children. Now it's a small family norm, so you are the one who's going to play with them, right? So you have to go up to their level and be their friend as well, and provide them a good quality time by yourself. So just make a balance between the friend and the parent. So even if for adolescent, when you are being more friends with them, at the same time your parents antenna should be on, like you should catch where it is going unsafe, where they are going to take a mispath, when they are going to deviate from their goal. So you pick it up in time and do your mentoring work at the same time when you are being fair friends with them. Some of the behaviors to be avoided, especially in front of the children, because as I told you, remember, they are watching. When they are watching, they are knowingly or unknowingly, they are inculcating those behavior in themselves. When they grow older, when they become parents, maybe they will act similarly. So it is very important to behave properly with them, and especially those things like yelling and showing anger in some way is needed at some times, but there should be a constructive way, and it should be a feedback in a very proper way. If they are doing any mistakes, you need to point out, but yelling or getting very angry at them, it's not really a proper behavior. At this time, especially when there was lockdown, people were working from home, and now also sometimes they would be working from home. So to balance between the work life and the child care, you have to have a good rapport with your partner, and the parents can take turn. If a mother is busy in her professional work, it's okay for the father to take care of the child, and when she is free, of course she will take care of the child. So this is how you can make balance rather than ignoring them. You continue your professional work while taking some part of the child care. That's really not what is advisable. For a teenage child, avoid being very nagging and very instructive. They would accept more of a friendly advice, or more of a simpler talk, rather than very instructive and a very strict nagging behavior. So be more friendly to a teenage. And sometimes the parents may be having some conflicts, argument. Try to avoid doing these in front of the child, because this causes a lot of emotional trauma to them, and maybe having a lasting impact on their psyche. So remember to avoid these kind of behavior, especially in front of children. So at the end, to sum it up, and maybe adding some more, I would give you some good parenting tips that can help. So give lot of love. Mostly it's an unconditional love, but your love should not be overdone that you do not even point out their mistakes. So give lot of love and care to the child, provide them safe and comfortable environment, give them emotional support. Utilize the bed tucking time. This is a very important time where the child is really very close to you, and he will be able to open up with you. He will be telling the whole day's routine, maybe sharing his problems with you. So utilize that bed tucking time. Take care of their nutrition with your proper knowledge about the balanced diet and the healthy eating practices. This will help to build up a good physique in them. Teach them healthy lifestyle, good physical exercises and all that, and ensure regularly and timely vaccination. Make sure to have at least one meal together as a family. It will create a very good bond. Provide them with the resources, but do not overdo it. If you keep on giving them all kinds of gadgets and all sorts of things you collect for them, but at the same time you are not giving them proper time and attention, that will not have a good effect. So remember, your providing them the things will not replace for your time and attention. It's really very important to have a quality time with them. Set routine and discipline, but it should not be very rigid. You can be a bit flexible about it. So sometimes it is okay to accept a bit change in the routine, but as such there should be a proper routine and discipline set for them. Keep the TV in the family room only, and try avoiding putting it in the bedroom, which causes unnecessary binge watching, and would have a bad impact on the sleep pattern. So apart from that, watch for the total screen time, be that a phone or mobile or a laptop or anything. So there should be limited screen time. Maybe screen time can be allotted them on hours basis, or can be earned as a reward point. Do not accept disrespect from your child. I would like to emphasize this particular point. When you want to teach him to respect to the others, yeah, and you also have to give him respect. If somehow you are, of course you are loving your child too much, but if he is disrespecting and you do not point out their mistake, they will think that it's okay, it's acceptable. So you need to tell them what is the proper way of behavior, and do not accept a disrespect from the child. And try to make them a better person. Tell them to help people in need, build good human values in them. Teach about those important role of any individual in the society. Give them their due independence. Especially I would talk about the independence of like letting them eat by themselves when it is a toddler, where they would like the newly acquired autonomy. They want to feed themselves. At the same time, they may soil their clothes. It's a bit work for you to clean up the dirty things, but it's okay, let them explore. And another type of independence I would talk for a adolescent. At that time they require the independence, so you cannot be very rigid and nagging to an adolescent. But when you are providing independence, but still you have to make sure that they do not lose their goal and they do not deviate from their path. And when it is a safety concern, you have to keep your instincts on. Be a good role model, and just remember that the children are observing. So whatever you are teaching or you are saying will go futile if you are not doing that in I mean, if you are not adapting that thing in your life also. So be a good role model to them. Then there may be some special parenting method needed according to a child who is adolescent, because adolescence is a particularly difficult period in any child's life. A child who is going through the pubertal phase is having a lot of physical, emotional, and mental changes due to their hormonal changes. So at this time they are very, very vulnerable. And if you be more friendly at that time, more patient, then they are more easy to take your advice or be friendly with you. Otherwise it will be very difficult for them to cope up with the changes. And this is the time when some conflicts develop between the parents and the child. So try to pass this time with lot of patience, lot of love and understanding. Then there are children with special needs, like those with mental retardation, those children who are having some physical or a mental lag or disability, those children who are having some behavioral problems like hyperkinetic, attention deficit hyperkinetic disorder, or if they are having this autism, then the parents they can take proper training also how to behave with these children. And they need to have a lot of love, patience, and try to gather more of the resources needed for those children, and with, of course, with your within your capacity. And try to be more patient with them and give them a lot of support and love. Then last thing to remember is excess of anything is bad. As they say, the definition of poison is excess of anything. So be it excess of love, or be it excess of providing resources, or be it excessive discipline or rigidness in your routine, anything if done in excess may be not having a good effect on the child. So be moderate in provision of these things. Then lastly, I would like to end my talk with a small story. This apologue I've taken from Metamorphosis by Frank Dupree. And this is a story about a child who was a young boy or a child who was going through a forest and suddenly he found a cocoon. He was very interested in seeing that cocoon because he knew that from this cocoon a butterfly will emerge. He took that cocoon, brought it home, and kept on observing that cocoon till he started seeing some movement or some activity in the cocoon. He was very excited to see, he was observing with keen interest. And then he could see that the butterfly could manage to make a small hole in that cocoon. He was pretty excited and very attached emotionally to that one. So he wanted to help. What he did, he just took a pair of scissors and snipped open that cocoon. So with that help, the butterfly could come out very easily. And he was very happy to see that the butterfly could come out very easily from that cocoon. But now he is hoping that butterfly to take a flight, but it wouldn't. Why the butterfly would not take the flight is because the struggle period that was needed for the butterfly to develop his wings very strongly, or strengthen the wings, was that struggle period was cut short by the boy, and he helped at the wrong time. And so he unknowingly stunted the growth of the butterfly, and the butterfly could not take a flight. So just be careful when you are nurturing your child. Let them have their period of struggle, but at the same time you are there to support. So support in a proper way so that they can reach their maximum potential. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. It was a wonderful webinar, and I'm sure many of them would have noted down many points what you have mentioned. So I would request all of you, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box so that we can get it answered by a doctor one by one. If you have any questions about your child's health or health issues during Ramadan, or health issues with the school related or anything, so our doctor is here to answer the questions. We'll quickly take the question answer. So we have one question from Elizabeth, who is a participant. How to be a good and best parent even we are in a different country with my son? So there are in UAE, if you see, many parents are working here and their children are living in India, or they are living outside. They have to go for studies. So how can we, what is the advice you give to the parents and how to deal with this?
Right. Elizabeth, I hope you are mentioning that when you are in another country and your child is in some other country, or you mean to say that one of you, you are the one
She
with the
mentioned that
child?
she is
The
here and her child is in
child
a
is in another country. Okay, the thing is, I would say, of course, there comes the role of other relatives, and this is how we are in a social network, right? The child is with other relatives. You build that confidence in the child that those relatives who are taking care of the child are equally parent to them, and they are the mentors to them. And but by the gadgets available nowadays, like, it's really a boon that we have the web connection, and you can have a video chat every day. You can pay a very close attention to the child's activity and his daily routine and what's going on by having a good audio video chat with the child. At the same time, you make them understand that those people who are taking part in their care are really very important and loving, and they are also helping the child in most of the ways. But you can be still with your child on the net, right? So try to fill up that gap, and as and when possible, visit them frequently so far you can. And of course, you will be providing them resources, but just try to remove that guilt from your mind that you are not able to be with the child, and try to fill that gap by providing them unnecessary extra resources or gadgets. So avoid doing that, and at the same time build up a good emotional rapport with them by being with them in constant communication.
Okay. Also, there is a question from Cyril De La Cruz. How can we help our child not to get influenced by bad behavior outside the house?
Okay, so the thing is, this is what I told you. When you give them a very good emotional support, you build their confidence. Most of the times, if it is small child, maybe at the bed tucking time or sometime when they are very comfortable, they will open up. They will tell you about the bad behavior of other people in the society. So what you can teach them, that what is wrong, what is right, and how to behave in such a situation. And sometimes it's okay to let them know that it's everything is not in their hand, but what to pick and what not to pick is in their hand. So when they know about the values and their concepts are clear, they will not pick the bad behavior of other people if you are there to rectify their wrong impressions at home. Yeah.
Okay. And in terms of health, now summer is going to come up, and so what are the precautions do the children need to take, or the
Right.
parents really need to tell their children that how to handle this
Right.
summer?
Right. As the summer is approaching, I would say hydration, hydration, hydration. Very, very important. So, right. So, of course, they can avoid very, very hot sun time, but early morning hours and late evening hours, then they can still continue the plays and sports activity. They can be more indulged in the indoor sports activity rather than outdoor games. That can be like done later or in the later hours of the day. And take good nutrition and good hydration. Yeah.
Also, doctor, you know, uh, they would have already, what are the, is there any particular test you would advise for children for them to do to check up? Because, we have
Uh,
seen,
no, the thing is the regular checkup for the child may not be needed. You can just utilize for a checkup time when they are having any ailment, be it a minor or anything. Where apart from that, the vaccination time is the best time when you have an interaction with the doctor. So that time their growth pattern and their general well-being can be checked at the time of vaccination. And otherwise, if they are having any kind of health issues, at that time you can go to the doctor and accordingly the investigations can be done.
okay. Also, we have seen in the UAE, many of the children, they develop vitamin D deficiency. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
the
a
thing is there's
common.
a yeah, I understand. There is a lot of sun available, but it is too much available that you are not able to go out in open sun, and most of the times you are avoiding that sun exposure. Otherwise, sun exposure in a moderate condition is would be good enough to develop vitamin D. But nowadays we are seeing that vitamin D deficiency is such a common and rampant thing. Like if you just randomly pick any child and do the vitamin D level, it would surely come low. So the thing is, one thing is they can have regular vitamin D supplements if their sun exposure we know it's less. For the school age children, usually there are good enough sports hours where they are exposed to sun, and they make a good amount of vitamin D from the skin by exposure of the sun. So the thing is, for the school age children, maybe regular vitamin D supplementation may not be needed, but for earlier years, when the child is mostly indoor, we give them regular vitamin D supplement. If they are having any issues related to the vitamin D deficiency, like they may be having some leg pains, or they may be developing some deformities like frontal bossing, or they may be having knock knees, bow legs, or any of those things which are like pretty advanced for a vitamin D deficiency. But if any such things noted, it's definitely needed to check their vitamin D status. Otherwise, also, if the sun exposure is not that good on a regular basis, off and on vitamin D status can be checked, and as needed, either a therapeutic level of vitamin D or supplementary vitamin D can be provided to the children to prevent vitamin D deficiency in them.
Okay. One last question, doctor. I think already we have, crossed half an hour. And
Okay.
so the question here by Elizabeth is that how do I, you know, encourage my kid to study, because they are facing some difficulties in, putting the child, self-study or something like that, I feel. So
Right. So the thing
her
is,
child is 10 years old.
A child is 10 years old. So he's beware, he is approaching that teens and adolescent age. So the thing is, if you be very, very strict with them that go to study and you keep on nagging them, study, maybe they will not listen to that particular thing so well. But if you set an example, you keep on giving examples of those who are having a good success, or who are doing well in life, in a constructive manner, not in a comparative manner. If you tell about those things, they may be motivated to do it. And just sometimes a bit lenient and sometimes a bit strict. So often on these things, if you practice, maybe you will be able to keep the child in that race. The thing is, of course, every child has got his own potential to different potentials. You need to assess his potential, what he is best at. If he is good at study, of course he needs to achieve higher. If he is interested and doing other things more than, for example, a child who is too much interested in sports, at least he need to achieve a certain level of education. So for that child, it's okay to let him have his sports activity also. At the same time, you encourage his studies, so he would understand that you are accommodating his wishes also. And then maybe he will be more understanding to the needs of the society, to learn and to study up to at least certain level. But if the child is very good at studies, you know his potentials, you need to encourage him to be a good scholastic achiever, and set good examples in front of him. If there are any peer groups or cousins who are having a similar situation, maybe they looking at them by the role model, these things can help them to achieve that motivation to undergo to sit for the proper studies. Yes.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. As you mentioned, I think it's very important to encourage them in a constructive way, not in a comparative way. That is the key, I think, because if
Yes,
you start comparing, then he's going to be feeling,
very true.
So there's one more question from Lubna Iram. My son is 5 years old now.
Mhm.
Nowadays, when he goes to school, he's bleeding from nose.
Oh,
Maybe because of hot weather. Please suggest anything
right.
for prevention.
Right. Okay. Now you're talking about a specific condition, what we call as epistaxis. Though there are common causes of epistaxis which may be benign, what we call as bleeding from a Kieselbach plexus, that kind of epistaxis. But unless you see a doctor once, you cannot be sure that it is a simple reason for bleeding, or it is some other reason for bleeding, because there are many structures involved that can be causing bleeding. So at least once you need a ENT consultation also, for to make sure what kind of bleeding it is. The thing is, if it is a very minor bleed, there are maneuvers to stop the bleeding. You can pinch the nose, or you can just put some cold compressors on the nose to prevent that bleeding. But the thing is, at least once a proper diagnosis is needed from where this bleeding is occurring. So most likely it may be benign, but it needs to rule out other conditions also. If it is the minor bleed, the maneuvers can stop it. If it is a major bleed, it may require nasal packing. For that, you need to visit the ER. And apart from that, just to take the precaution, of course, in hot weather, the simple epistaxis that's coming from the Kieselbach plexus tend to be more in the hot summer weather. So try to avoid the hot weather as far possible and keep good hydration. And yeah, this is how you have to tackle the nosebleed. Yes.
I think we are through with all the questions. If you people have more questions, you can definitely send us by email from our website, and we'll keep in touch. There are more webinars coming on your way. Tomorrow also we have one good webinar, uh, which is going to be held at 9 p.m. So we hope you can join that too. So I would like to thank everyone for joining today. On behalf of Thumbay University Hospital, wish you a safe and happy Eid, and wish you all Eid Mubarak in advance. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for
Thank you.
elaborating the important topics, and we hope to see you again with a fresh new topic on children.
Right. Thank you so much. Okay.